Taylor here with Reality Canine. We do dog training that works in the real world. And today we're talking about crate training. First, I'm going to talk about how to introduce your dog to the crate. And then I'm going to talk about what kind of crate you should consider based on the kind of dog that you have. Not all crates are created equal, okay? So the first thing to know when it comes to crate training is the crate needs to be the right size, okay? You're never gonna condition a dog to like something that they're not comfortable in, okay? So generally the rule of thumb is you want the crate to be just tall enough for them to stand up in and just wide enough for them to be able to turn around in, okay? If you go smaller than that, they're going to feel claustrophobic and they'll be uncomfortable. Not to mention if you go way too small, it's just not very nice of you to have them go into something that they can't move in, right? Now, as far as going bigger than that rule of thumb, that really depends on your dog. There's some dogs that do just fine in roomier crates. There's some dogs that, especially if they're prone to anxiety, they can get a little worked up in roomier crates, okay? So it really depends, but in general, the rule of thumb is just tall enough for them to stand up in, just wide enough for them to turn around in. The next thing is you want the inside of the crate to be comfortable, okay? You want it to have something for them to lay on, so bedding, blankets, pillows, even straw can be used. And you want it to, ideally, the first time that they go into it, the first time they're introduced to it, you want it to smell like something familiar, okay? So if you can put a pillowcase that smells like you, a shirt that smells like you, their favorite toy, something that'll make it smell familiar. Dogs interact with the world through smell. You know, we kind of think of people, we interact with the world if we can see through our eyes, and smell is kind of a secondary sense. It's reversed for dogs, okay? Now the first thing that you're going to do when you first introduce your dog to a crate is you are not going to just put them inside of it and shut the door. That is a fast way to stress your dog out, make their first association with it very negative, okay? There are people that will tell you, just put your dog in the crate and let them cry it out. Let them learn that them crying doesn't get you to come. Do not do that, okay? Dogs are pack animals, okay? It is extremely natural for them to want to be with you, right? Their pack, their leader, especially if they are very young, especially if they are very insecure in themselves, they're going to want to be with you. So being separated from you would naturally be very, very stressful. And if you think about it, right, we think about ethology. Dogs come from wolves. They're extremely closely related to wolves even still, right? They can have viable puppies with each other. That's how closely related they are. A wolf in the wild that's separated from his pack dies, right? Separation in a dog's mind, in a canine's mind, means death, right? So we need to show them that this is not separation, this is their place to go, and you come back, right? And the way we do that is not by flooding them, by shoving them in the crate and shutting the door and then just leaving and letting them cry it out. The way we do that is by conditioning them to the crate, and then once they're comfortable being in the crate, conditioning them to having that door closed, and you leaving for progressive periods of time and progressive distances, okay? So when they first see the crate, it's a new thing, right? You will just take some treats, something they really like, and just give it to them around the crate. Good girl. Tell them that they're a good boy or a good girl. Just show them that being around this thing is good. They're getting good things. Then, if they're cool being around the crate, you start putting treats in the entryway where they can just stick their head inside. Some dogs at this point are going to be kind of like, what the heck, you want me to go in there? You might have to be a little slow about it, a little patient about it. Good girl, good girl, good girl. As soon as you notice that your dog is getting stressed to the point of wanting to run away, wanting to disengage with what's going on, you need to stop, you need to back up, right? We don't want to move too fast. We don't want the dog's overall stress level to get too high. This is supposed to be a gradual process, okay? Now, this may take a few sessions before you can get a dog to fully want to go inside the crate where you're throwing treats in the back and they're going inside. Good girl. Do not touch the door. You know, show them that you go in, you're a good girl, you get treats, good girl, good girl, good girl. Spoiler, she's crate trained, but she's my demo dog today, right? Once you have them capable of going inside the crate, getting treats, being cool with it, okay? Throughout the day, just leave this thing open, right? Make it really comfortable in there. Anytime they choose to go in the crate, good girl, good boy, give them lots of treats, lots of love. Show them that this is a good thing. Then you're gonna start moving to the door, right? So some dogs, the second that they think you're gonna close it in on them, they're gonna freak out and wanna get out. Do not move too fast. Do not make them think that they're trapped, right? Just show them you can move the door and they're a good girl. You can move the door and you're a good girl. Now all crates will have some kind of ventilation that you can put treats through, okay? So once you get to the point that you can close the door, do not just let them cry it out. Give them treats. Good girl, good boy, good girl. And then immediately open it again and show them that they can come right back out, okay? So the first time that they are in the crate and you are closing the door, it's happening for a matter of seconds, and then you're opening it again and you're going and you're playing tug, or you're going and you're doing something else very, very fun, okay? The next time that you do that, you're gonna have the door closed a little bit longer, and then you're gonna get to the point where when you close the door, you're actually going to maybe go to another part of the room. And when you get to that stage, okay, you wanna give your dog a very high value treat, okay? Something that they don't get any other time other than when they're in their crate. This is gonna start conditioning them to see that, okay, the stress of maybe being away from mom or dad for a little bit is not great, but I get this really awesome thing only when I go in here. Okay, I would suggest raw bones. You can get them at a butcher, you can get them at the meat shelf. What do they call it? The meat counter. The meat counter at your local grocery store. So like soup bones, marrow bones, something that they only get when they're in their crate. Give that to them, and then start working on, maybe they have to be in their crate for 30 minutes while you're on the other side of the room. And then they have to be in the crate for an hour while you're in the kitchen, so on and so forth. And you're slowly stretching out the amount of time that they're going in their crate and the amount of distance as to whether they can see you, so on and so forth, okay? The pace at which this happens is entirely dependent on your dog. There are some dogs that are just like, cool man, you gave me a bone, see you later, right? And there are some dogs that you'll have to move slower, you'll have to be patient, you'll have to understand it's stressful for them, right? Just keep remembering, your dog thinks that being separated from you is the worst thing that could happen to them, okay? You need to teach them to tolerate being without you in their safe place. This is their safe place, okay? Now before I move to the types of crates that work best for different types of dogs, I want to give quick ground rules, okay? Number one, your dog should not be crated during the day for extensive periods of time, okay? A crate is a tool, it is a management tool. I'm somebody that personally, I do not let my dogs be loose in my home when I'm not there supervising them because I have too many things that could go wrong. So when I'm not home, me and my husband are not home, my dogs are in crates, okay? But during the day, they are never crated for more than a couple hours at a time. Another thing is water, okay? In general, your dog should always have access to water if possible. If you don't like the idea of a bowl of water or a bucket of water that's hanging on the crate door, that can get very messy, it can spill. You can get, I don't have them in here, you can get water bottles that clamp to the crate. They're a similar type of water bottle to what like a hamster would have, but it's big and it's for a dog, and it's extremely easy to teach a dog how to drink out of them. You just put a thing of peanut butter on the end and then they lick the peanut butter and they see that water comes out. You can use one of those for water, okay? So do not crate your dog for excessive amounts of time, provide them water. Again, like we mentioned before, make sure there's bedding inside, make sure it's comfortable. And lastly, the crate is their space. I have 4 dogs. No dog is allowed in any other dog's crate. I have cats, no cat is allowed in a dog's crate. Do not crate dogs together, okay? The crate is their space. You should not be, messing with the dog while they're in their crate. It's their space, it's their place to feel safe, to relax. They should never ever worry that there's going to be a conflict over their space. Okay, that's a big way that problems start, okay? So now I want to talk about the types of crates and the types of dogs that work best for each crate. The types of crates that work best for each dog, rather, okay? I've had a lot of different crates. The cheapest crate that you can get is a fabric crate. Generally, that's not a great idea. Most dogs are willing and able to chew through fabric crates, so I would throw those out altogether. The next cheapest that you can get is a wire crate. Now, wire crates can be great, especially because you can get pretty big ones for a small amount of money. Wire crates are good for dogs that don't have a lot of anxiety in the crate. They don't have a lot of anxiety when you leave, okay? If you have that kind of dog, wire crates are great. I would strongly suggest getting a crate cover. So whether you just get a really big blanket or you actually buy a crate cover that is made for that size of crate, it helps it make it feel more like a den. It will make it more comfortable for them. So with wire crates, I would strongly recommend covering it with some kind of cover. Now, if you have a dog that's anxious, that does not like being separated from you, you will find out very quick that wire crates do not work and can be dangerous for a dog like that, because they will inevitably bend the wires with their teeth. They could break their teeth. They could try and dig out. They could try and force their way out. It could be very, very bad. If you think about it, when those wires break, they become sharp, right? So, and then there are also dogs that just learn how to open those latches, right? So if you have a more anxious dog, mildly anxious to even severe anxious, the next type of crate that you can get is a plastic crate. Sometimes they're called airline crates. Not all plastic crates are actually airline compliant. There's two kinds of plastic kennels. One is the two-piece kennels that have a top and a bottom that bolt together. And the other are the roto-molded one-piece plastic like this, okay? The advantage of the plastic crates is they're not the most expensive, and they have more security than wire crates, right? Most dogs, even dogs with reasonable separation anxiety, do well in the plastic crates. They offer more security, and they have ventilation on the sides so the dog can breathe well. A lot of them have impressions in the floor so that if the dog has an accident or spills water, the liquid is diverted away from the dog. So a lot of dogs do really well, and you can pick up a plastic crate at like any Walmart, Amazon, and they're not, the most expensive option. If you're looking at the Walmart brand, you're probably, depending on the size of the dog, you're looking between 50 to 150 bucks, okay? These kind of plastic crates, these one-piece roto-molded ones, they're a little bit pricier, they're a little bit more well-made. The most popular brand of which is called Ruffland. That's this kind here. I'm not endorsed by them or anything, but there's a very popular brand. Now, if you have a dog that has very high separation anxiety, and they're very committed to getting out of the crate, I love technology. Same topic, different day. So if your dog is so anxious that they are even digging themselves out of plastic crates, the highest tier option of crate that you can get is the aluminum style crates like this one, okay? These types of crates are often designed to be and marketed as being escape proof, okay? In particular, that's like the impact crate's claim to fame, is that the highest anxiety dogs are not able to get out of them, and it helps keep those types of dogs safe. The other great advantages for crates like this is it makes it very hard for the wrong person to have access to your dogs, right? So these crates, their latches have a built-in lock that comes with them. And they also have a space for an actual secondary padlock if you had your own that you wanted to put on there. That's the reason that I made the investment in these crates, is because I travel a lot with my dogs and I need to make sure that, one, they cannot get out, and two, the wrong person cannot get in. It's a very high priority for me, which is why I made the investment. Now let's be clear, these crates are an investment. Even though they're probably the highest quality, they will last you the longest, and they offer the most protection for anxious dogs. Impact crates going new are, depending on the size, like around $1,000, right? So way more expensive than other kinds of crates. And to be clear, Impact is not the only brand. There's a bunch of other brands out there that make aluminum style crates. This is just the kind that I have here. So again, it's an investment, but it's an investment in security and peace of mind. So you really have to weigh your priorities with that, okay? So just quick recap. So if you have a dog that doesn't have really bad anxiety in a crate, wire crates do just fine. They're the lowest budget option. Middle of the road is the plastic style crates, sometimes called airline crates. Most dogs do very well in those, and they're a mid-range budget option. And then the highest investment would be the aluminum style crates, which are for very high anxiety dogs or dogs that you need more security for, okay? So I hope this video was helpful for you. I hope it allowed you to make the decision as to what the best kind of crate would be for your dog and how to go about introducing your dog to that crate. Hopefully it helps demystify some of that for you. So thank you so much for watching, and please, please, please subscribe.